Coming up, 4 law enforcement officers are dead after a shootout in North Carolina.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Officials say 4 law enforcement officers were fatally shot as they tried to serve a warrant in Charlotte, North Carolina. 4 other officers were wounded in the deadly gun violence that shocked the city. CBS's Dave Malkoff reports from Charlotte.
Shots fired at officer, possibly 1 down. Subjects, correction, 2 down. Subjects barricaded themselves.
4 officers were shot and killed as multiple law enforcement agencies tried to serve an arrest warrant at a home in Charlotte.
When they approached that individual, they were met with gunfire. Officers returned gunfire and struck the victim, who was later pronounced deceased in the front yard of the residence.
Officials say as officers approached, more shots came from inside the home. After a 3-hour standoff, officials cleared the residence and 2 people found inside were brought in for questioning.
There were 3 members of the U.S. Marshals Task Force who were pronounced deceased. Today's an absolute tragic day for the city of Charlotte.
Daniel Melendez lives nearby and heard the shots.
I live in this neighborhood for 10 years. Never saw this, never thought it can even happen.
Neighbor Tyler Wilson said the shootout lasted for 30 minutes.
There was shots ringing left and right. We had SWAT and U.S. Marshals set up snipers in our bedrooms. There was an officer got drugged by his arms to our house.
The FBI is on scene to help with the investigation. The warrant being served was for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Today's shooting in Charlotte is one of the deadliest days for law enforcement since July 2016, when 5 Dallas police officers were shot and killed during a protest against police abuse. Dave Malkoff, CBS News, Charlotte.
According to the U.S. Marshal Service Honor Roll, 10 U.S. Marshals personnel have been killed in the line of duty during the past 5 years. The deaths today bring that number to 13. State police have arrested a suspect in a Rockcastle County murder investigation. 49-year-old Clayton Cox of Mount Vernon is charged with murder and tampering with evidence. He's accused of killing 43-year-old Joshua Dooley of Mount Vernon. Dooley was found shot to death at a home on Goochland Cave Road Sunday. And we have just learned in the last few minutes that state police are investigating another murder in Rockcastle County tonight. This one happened on Sand Hill Road in Livingston. State police say 54-year-old Terry Burke of Livingston is charged with murder and is being held in the Rockcastle County Detention Center. More information is expected to be released tomorrow. A London man reported missing was found dead following a crash. State police were notified about that incident by Laurel 911 a little after 5:30 p.m. yesterday. Police say 21-year-old Trevor Wascom was driving a Suzuki motorcycle when he lost control, went off the road and hit a tree. Wascom was pronounced dead at the scene by the Laurel County Coroner's Office. Wascom had been reported missing by his family since Friday. A firefighter continues to recover after being injured last week in Pike County. Governor Beshear sent his well wishes on social media today. He said, quote, "Join Brittany and me in sending prayers for a swift recovery to Team Kentucky firefighter Zach Garland, who was injured last week while battling a wildfire in Pike County. Your bravery while protecting our Commonwealth is nothing short of heroic." The Pikeville Fire Department spent the morning training with a new prop, keeping their eyes in the skies for potential aircraft fires. The department brought in a propane-fed live fire prop from the Kentucky Fire Commission's State Fire Rescue Training Program, learning how to approach situations like a helicopter fire in case it ever comes up. Firefighters say it was a good training, keeping their skills sharp and seeing how they transfer to other situations.
I mean, we're an all-hazard response agency, and we respond to anything and everything from casting trees to helicopters on fire. And with the helipad that the hospital has, thankfully we've never had an accident, but it's always good to be prepared for that.
Hayton says the training provides a change of pace, adding in a little excitement while incorporating the techniques firefighters use every day. As Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month comes to a close, officials with the Rising Center are continuing to advocate for survivors. On Monday, officials hosted an event offering resources and encouraging folks in the community to honk to end sexual violence. Program Director Jasmine Wilson says they will continue hosting events throughout the year.
April is Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month, but this work does not stop in April. We do it all year long. We're here all year long, and we want survivors to know that we are very much out in the community in April, but we are going to continue to do big events throughout the year to let them know that we are here, to spread awareness about what we do, and just so they have support.
Wilson says it's important to remain vigilant in the community and be ready whenever survivors need their services.
Well, you're tracking some mild weather to close out your Monday up on the radar. Those clouds also continuing to increase this evening. But notice we are dry to go into your Monday night, but that moisture is not far away. We are tracking some light to moderate downpours close to the I-65 corridor in western Kentucky from Louisville, stretching close to Bowling Green, also into Tennessee. And this weather system is moving into our direction by late Monday, also on Tuesday. Some good news, no severe weather tonight, also tomorrow, but you will see a few showers by late tonight, also throughout the day on your Tuesday. Those temperatures this evening are still mild. Most of us in the upper 60s to lower 70s, up to 70 for Jackson. Also in Pikeville, 62 for Manchester, and 67 over in Harlan County at this hour. For most of us, we see lows in the middle to lower 60s to wake up in the morning. And we stay cloudy overnight as well, and those rain chances are set to increase by late tonight, also throughout the day tomorrow. More details on that rain chance plus your Derby weekend forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. On the last day of the 2024 legislative session, the Kentucky Senate confirmed Dr. Robbie Fletcher as Kentucky's next Commissioner of Education. While there are still 2 months before he assumes the job, the Lawrence County Superintendent is already sharing his perspective on what's needed in Kentucky's education system. Jessica Umbro has more.
There's no greater compliment, there's no greater responsibility that you can have than for a parent or guardian to look at you and say, I trust you with my children.
Kentucky's next Commissioner of Education, Robbie Fletcher, says he's ready to hit the ground running when his term starts in July.
We all have obstacles that we're going to have to face. KDE's role is how do we assist you to meet those obstacles?
A key theme, a system of accountability. Dr. Fletcher says that means ensuring educational needs are being met quickly.
What type of accountability system will make a day-to-day impact on instruction? Also, what type of accountability system will take into effect or into account what the local community values in their education system too?
And in a targeted way for a variety of districts, schools, and individual circumstances.
When you look at local accountability, different parts of our state have different things they value.
Dr. Fletcher spoke extensively about the need for open communication and collaboration with members of Kentucky's education system, but he also said he feels comfortable working with legislators as well.
The partnership with the state legislature will be key in making sure all this happens.
He says he approves of the most recent state budget signed off by legislators in Frankfort.
What better investment can we have than our children? Our state legislature made a huge investment in education, and I'm thankful for that. It may be the best education budget I've seen in my time, but I will always ask for more resources.
In Frankfort, Jessica Umbro, WKYT.
Dr. Fletcher will begin his new position as the Commonwealth's Education Commissioner on July 1st. And we have him booked to be my guest on Issues and Answers in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. Pro-Palestinian protesters are facing the threat of suspension tonight after refusing to break down their tent city at Columbia University. More arrests were made today on campuses across the country, including the universities of Texas and Georgia and UCLA. CBS's Tom Hansen has the latest.
We're staying out here. Thank you.
Today, NYPD officers were standing by as students ignored a school deadline to dismantle their encampment or face suspension.
I feel like currently there's a lot of fear from all sides and all students towards the administration.
This is the epicenter of the college protests. They started small in this tent encampment, and now they've expanded to the entire Columbia University quad. What are you protesting?
I'm protesting against an ongoing genocide of Palestine that is funded by the United States of America and that Columbia profits off of. We are protesting for divestment.
Student anger has spread nationwide. More students at the University of Texas Austin were arrested, ignoring a police command to disperse. And over a dozen students were taken into custody at the University of Georgia. Elise Preston is in California, where dozens clashed Sunday after a security barrier was breached.
Inside this pro-Palestinian encampment at UCLA, hundreds of students and faculty members voiced their solidarity. They say they'll be here as long as it takes. And UCLA says there's no timeline for the university to get rid of this encampment. Do you feel safe with this encampment and with the counter-protesters?
We don't feel safe with the counter-protesters, but we think that we're building a community here that cares about safety.
Back here at Columbia University, the students we spoke to say they have no plans on moving the tents until their demands are met or they are physically removed. And the university has begun suspending students to ensure campus safety. School officials say they need the tents cleared out so they can start preparing for graduation ceremonies on May 15th. They will also have enhanced security presence on campus. Tom Hansen, CBS News, New York.
A rally is planned on the University of Kentucky campus this week to show solidarity with people in Gaza. Lex for Palestine is hosting the rally at 5 o'clock Wednesday at the lawn at William T. Young Library. Lex for Palestine says this rally is not just for UK students. Anyone who supports the cause is welcome to attend. We are now just 5 days away from the 150th running of the Kentucky Derby, and officials are getting ready for big crowds this week. The Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport is preparing for thousands of guests to come through during the next few days. TSA works closely with the airport and airlines to prepare for large events like the Derby, including having more staff on hand. Airport officials say they are taking extra security measures ahead of the Derby. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, the Biden administration highlights accomplishments as Small Business Week kicks off.
Plus, we are watching out for a few showers tonight and some warm weather for midweek. Your forecast after this break.